Hi and welcome to another seminar of Peter Vaughan. Alphabets followed language, and if we wanted to leave a message for somebody or identify it, we start to scribe things. So the images eventually get condensed down to strokes and scribed in a way in which we've made simple things like our letter A here. Now the important part about the A is that its origin looked a bit like this up the top. It was a stroke, like a V tilted over and a line through it. And it was the image of the ox. And what it represented was the ox's head with a yoke across its shoulders. And they hitched the yoke to a plough through the field or on a cart where it would just take the cart full of family goods or whatever to the markets or to another village. The ox represented a rapid change in the environment or the living conditions at the time. To look at how long it takes a man to plough a field in those times would have been a long time if they had just a spade and had to dig the thing by hand. So by using an ox, the symbol, it was fast, it happened quickly. Moving house happened quickly. So the ox was called, this particular symbol here is called Aleph. But the ox, or the symbol of the ox here, was changed by the Romans in that era on its side, like that. And so that's what A was being developed into, and now we've got it down to, we've cut the sides off, the yoke off, and we've got this upstanding A as we have today, the beginning of our modern alphabet. So that's where A come from an ox. An image or a picture of a full ox or a bull with the yoke across its shoulders was just down to the head, just the yoke, and now it's to here. There's a significant part about that which I'm going to cover in a moment when I get down to here about the name David, just to show you something that you can go and test and try to prove that this works. When you're looking at symbols or hieroglyphs in red here, that I've gained from a book called The Book of the Dead, which is an Egyptian book, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It talks about the symbols inside the walls of the tombs of the pharaohs at that time. And they had different sounds that went with them. And this one here, Ab, was a symbol of what looked like an urn of some sort, but it's not. Actually, that represents the heart of a person. Ab represented heart, but not heart as we would understand it today. The heart that you and I have in our chest is an organ which is pulsing blood throughout our body and pumping it. But in that era or that time, they believed the heart was the seat of your knowledge, where your thinking came from. It was an organ that did something. What they saw inside a person's skull in a battle or that had an accident was all this grey stuff, and that did nothing. It didn't seem to be very important. So this part here, or the heart, is where they believed all of your knowledge came from. Ab, therefore, was the brain. And this symbol here represented the brain and or your subconscious. Now, in the subconscious, the word heart here, as opposed to the word brain in modern numerological assessment, heart belongs to group 7. 7 is the high quality number, it's wisdom, it's knowledge. So therefore this knowledge that came out through the Ab was from somewhere, it wasn't the heart, it was from that subconscious part in your brain. Ba, the soul, is what they called Ba, is the soul. Here we've got a symbol of a man bird. Now this man has got a head of a man, and that represents, it's not a beak, it's a beard, little beard coming out. And below here we have a little trough, a little possibly an oil burning thing with a little flame on the top. And this represented the soul of a man, his living, burning spirit. So Ba, it was the consciousness. It's the part that relates to other people when you're talking to somebody that you know. You're talking to their soul, their spirit. It's nothing you can see, it's just there. It's part of their body. And it develops from birth. So your consciousness increases over time and you become smarter and more aware of your environment, and then you become the person who you are. Down here, the Ka is the dead body. And what we've got here is the same symbol up here, but the living flame has been replaced with a dark ball, a black dot. It's actually quite a large symbol and it's all shaded out. That particular part there represented the body is no longer alive, it's dead. So you can see the similarity here, and it represented death. Now I put some number codes behind these, but what's really, really interesting, the letters K, H, A in our modern alphabet, that's the 11th letter, that's the 8th letter, and that's the first letter. If you add those numbers up, 11 and 8 and 1. Well, 11, 8 is 19, and 1 makes the number 20. Depending on how you add that up in another way, you can go 8 plus 2 plus 1 is 11, or 11 which reduces to 2. But the word death also in our modern alphabet adds up to this number 2 here. That's 4, 5, 1, 2 and 8. If you see the other seminars I have on the alphabets, you can see how I've worked that out. But to understand that ka, which was a sound uttered back then, and our modern alphabet saying death, they're different sounding words, but they have the same harmonic, the same vibration. Up here, for example, the word heart belongs to group 7, which means wisdom and knowledge. That's what the number actually belongs to, that group. It means that. The word book adds up and belongs to group 7 as well. So there's knowledge inside of that as well. So we've got Ab and Ba and Ka, and down here I've got Ra. Ra is the sun god, and that's its symbol there, a circle with a dot in the middle. So a hieroglyph put into a form with other symbols can change its meaning. Now, over here, as I was going to tell you about, before I do that, Ra, sun god. The sun is a star, and when you look at a star, it has a central core, this molten heaty body, and you've got planets orbiting around it. Look at an atom. An atom is a little proton and electron group spinning around a central core, the nucleus. And here's your atom, or star I should say, and here's your atom. Now the word star just happens to add to group 4, and atom adds to group 4. Coincidence? Maybe. Two different words belonging to the same group. The word God, numerologically speaking, adds to group 8. The word creator, if you add those letters up, also comes to group 8. Is that a coincidence? When I studied this here, there are a lot of other words that relate to group 8. For example, the word brain adds to group 8. When you start to study this, too many similarities, too many groups to come together, it's called empirical data and statistical gathering of that. It makes for interesting learning in science. It makes sense of the world. Our alphabet and the way it's put together and the words we create from that alphabet help us understand who we are, who I am, what my name represents, and what field I should be working in. Numerology is not a bad field for me. So as we came down here, we get to this A equals a change in the living conditions. This was a rapid change in the environment for the ancients. So A representing a change in the living conditions, it's a timing in a name. If, for example, I looked at the name David, D-A-V-I-D, it's a storyboard. David's not just a name, it's got a continual vibration going through time. And it's been impressed in a child's mind when they're born, and you're talking to the child, David, you're giving the baby food, you're giving the baby a cuddle, you're changing the baby's diapers, nappies in other language. And as you start to do that, you impress upon this child that the vibration or the sound of David is them. David, the first letter in David is the D, and it's the fourth letter in the alphabet, hence the 4. A is the first letter, hence 1. V is the 22nd letter of the alphabet. Add 2 and 2 together and you get 4. I is the 9th letter of the alphabet, and D is the 4th letter. So a 4 here and a 4 here, and their different letters are because one's 22 and one's straight 4. But add them up and you'll get the number 22 in total. So the name David, a sub-vibration, is 22. It takes 22 years for the vibration of David to express itself in the subconscious of the brain. And I've proven this by studying all the Davids that I've ever come across, all have one thing in common. And this is fascinating. Try this on your friends. If you go through the name David and you come back and you start the vibration again, like a ball bouncing, it bounces It travels, it bounces, it travels, it bounces, it travels, it bounces. A name doesn't stop when it's run out after 22 years of vibration. It merely starts again. Let's do that. 22 years plus 4. Here it is. 22 plus 4 is 26. The next letter that comes in is the A. It's a 1 there. 26 plus 1, 27. If this A comes into harmonic, comes into vibration after 27 years of all Davids when they're born, every David is a time of major change for them in their 27th year. Now, I was on a radio show in Auckland. The most popular DJ is David Slayton Smith, and it was back in about 2004, I think about, maybe 2005. And we were chatting about this for well over an hour on radio in the studio, which was really kind of good. The studio went crazy with people wanting to ask questions about their names, their life, etc. And I made a comment that all Davids, when they reach 27, have a major event or a major change in their life. Major change. And he, what? So he asked people called David, who were at least 27 years of age and older, to ring into the studio and see if they could confirm what I'd said. Every David that phoned in, every one of them, had a change in their 27th year. Coincidence? I don't think so. Try this on somebody you might know is called David and say, what happened to you when you were 27? Oh, I had a divorce. Oh, I shifted countries. Oh, I changed major jobs. Things like that happen for these Davids. When I did that, directly after that call, just to wind the seminar up, a woman called Kate phoned in, and she wanted to ask a question. And her question was quite good. She said, hi Peter, it's Kate here. Hello Kate. She said, I've just changed my name by deed poll. And I said, stop there Kate. And I said, your father named you. And he did. Now Leighton, the DJ, couldn't believe what I was saying. So what he said was, how did you do that? And I said, when a person other than the mother names a child, you often have a real disruption in a person's life. And so when she made that statement, Kate was her new name, but her old name also added up to the same vibration or harmonic of Kate, which is the one vibration. So, go and try this out on your friends and find out whether the origins of the alphabet and the symbols that eventually came from these things formed our modern alphabet. Here's something else that I discovered. If Ab is the subconscious and Ba is the soul, imagine that that's your brain up the top here, and this is what your consciousness, your awareness of life. And Ka is a dead body. So when your soul leaves you, when you die, in other words, get up, you can't, he's dead. A dead body has no ability to get up and do what it was doing before. So you might say, he's gone off to heaven, he's gone off to God, he's gone off to somewhere, or he's just buggered off. The point being here is, when I read this through and found these in different parts of the Book of the Dead, something came to me and I went, hang on, Abakar, which is brain, consciousness, and dead body. When the body dead, the soul leaves, it's gone. Soul from a dead body goes to Ra. Now listen to this. Abakar, Bakara. Abaka, Bakara. Abaka, Bakara. Have you ever heard of abracadabra? Nobody really knows where it comes from. But when I read that, I went, maybe this could have been those origins. The brain of the person that holds their knowledge, the soul that expresses it. When the soul is gone because there's a dead body, it transposes and transcends and goes off to wherever. I don't know beyond that, but this is a story of where our alphabet came from. The letter C came from the moon. Letter S came from a serpent or a snake. When you start to look at these things, it's a fascinating subject, a bit more than what the average numerologist might know. So you want to know more? Go to my website, petervaughan.net. Vaughan Code is another one that I have, which we're developing now, so go to vaughncode.com and you'll find me there too shortly. Enjoy the seminar? I did. I enjoyed making it. Thanks for coming on, and see you at another seminar soon. Bye for now. I'm Peter Vaughan signing out.